Bev is out of town with her husband.
Public hearing on the
Okay, we're going to call the Tuesday, August 24th Board of Mayor and Alderman to order. We'll start with an invocation followed by a pledge of allegiance. Would you please stand, Clyde, if you would?
Would you bow with me? Heavenly Father, again tonight we come to you in prayer, thanking you for all the many freedoms that we as a blessed nation have. We understand these freedoms, the freedom of assembly, the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, are all freedoms that we have entrusted to our government and entrusted to each of us. We ask that you give us the wisdom and the guidance to continue to make sure that those freedoms are always available. We ask that you be with the military as they in foreign lands are serving, and it's certainly a hardship on them and their families. We ask that you be with each of the family members. We also ask that you be with each of us tonight as we conduct the business of the city of Franklin. Give us individually spiritual wisdom and guidance. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Clyde. Appreciate it. Item number 4, comments from citizens on items that are not on the agenda. We have one public hearing tonight, but if anybody wishes to address this body on something that's not on the agenda, we will listen to them at this moment. If not, item number 5 is communications from the Mayor and Williams County Commission. I don't see any of them here. So item number 6 is approval of minutes, but we have none in your package. We'll do that next time. Item number 7, I would like to, and Clyde, you mentioned this in your invocation about our soldiers. I would like to just bring to your attention that we have a group of soldiers that we have adopted from Fort Campbell, and last week 2 of our soldiers were killed in action in Afghanistan. And Private Benjamin Glenn Chisholm, 24, of Fort Worth, Texas, and Private Charles Milton High, the 4th, 21, of Albuquerque, New Mexico, were killed when their vehicle rolled after an IED exploded nearby. We don't have the funeral details, but we will post them on our website. Please, as always, keep their families in your prayers, and as well as all the soldiers that are servicing our country in different parts of this world. It is sad, and when you see the age 24 and 21, it is, especially those of us who have children that age or even younger, it's tough to deal with. So our thoughts and prayers are out to their families. On miscellaneous reports, Eric, you have a comment or two you want to say?
I have one item I want to make the board aware of. It's sort of a unique circumstance. This is an item we brought before the Budget and Finance Committee last week. It dealt with a request from the Convention Center operator, Marriott Hotel. They're in the process of a refinancing, restructuring of their borrowing arrangements, and had asked us for an estoppel agreement, which essentially holds that the existing business arrangements and contracts that we have between the ownership group and the city and county will continue in place. We have just learned today they need to close that arrangement by the end of this month, and have reviewed it with legal counsel and identified that I can do that administratively. I can take those actions. But since it had appeared before the committee, we had talked about it. In the usual course, we would have brought it through for your vote. But given this unique circumstance, I will go ahead and take the administrative action included on your in your agenda next time as actions taken on behalf of the board. But feel comfortable in that authority, but wanted to make you aware of it, especially since we had brought it up to a committee of the board. And the committee had been, I think, very comfortable with that arrangement, but did want to make you aware that was a necessary step we were going to take.
Okay, good. All right, thanks, Eric. Anything else?
John, I've got some.
Okay, yes.
Want to report that Sister Cities, our sister city in Carrollton, Ontario, Canada, is sending student exchange this next week. Starting on the 29th, there'll be 3 students here that'll be here for most of the week, visiting some schools and some of the tourist attractions here. And on Sunday, the 29th at 3 o'clock at the Public Library on Columbia, they're going to have a presentation about international passport about the country of Canada. And we're expecting that the students will be there to meet and greet people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Item number 9 is the consent agenda. We have items 20 through 39. Any motion to? Approval. And a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 10, I want, just for the record, would like to say that we normally do old business before new business. There's a couple items on new business that have to do with items number 10 and 11, which we will discuss shortly. It had to do with Breezeway and agreements between Williams County Board of Education and the City of Franklin. We wanted to get those items approved before we went on to item number 19, which is a final reading of the rezoning. So we wanted to get that done. That we're taking those out of sequence and just wanted everybody to know why we're doing that. So, having said that, we're on to item number 10, consideration of memorandum of understanding between the Williams County Board of Education and the City of Franklin regarding the Breezeway Elementary project. Is there a motion?
Move approval. Second.
Discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
This is the memorandum of understanding?
It is.
Okay. No, I've got the interlocal, never mind.
The interlocal is 11, yeah.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Any other comments? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 11 is the consideration of interlocal agreement between Williams County Board of Education and the City of Franklin regarding Breezeway Elementary project. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
And a second? Second. And Mr. McClendon.
Mayor, I move that on page 2, at the beginning of the second full paragraph, the following words be inserted. Subject to the city's review and approval of the engineer's report, comma.
I second that.
And approval, comma.
And with my comment on that is this. I just want to make sure that the city has the opportunity to evaluate and approve the engineering report rendered by the school board's engineer with respect to the sewer capacity issues.
Okay, we have an amendment that has been properly seconded. Is there any further discussion on that?
And it's at the beginning of the paragraph?
It's at the beginning of paragraph 2.
Which is the board further
The
agrees.
board further agrees. Is that correct, Dana?
Yes, it just picks up with, yeah.
Subject
to the city's review and approval of the engineer's report,
board
comma.
further agrees.
The board further agree, and everything else stays the same.
Linda, you got that? Okay. All in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, raise your hand. We're back to the main motion as amended. Any discussion on that? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 12, consideration of ordinance 2010-60, in order to amend Title 18, Chapter 2, Section 18-2045 of the Franklin Municipal Code to revise the requirements for connections to the public sanitary sewer system. This is the first of 2 readings. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second. Discussion? I see a couple wishy-washy. If not, all in favor say aye. All opposed, raise your hand. You got another chance. That's first of 2 readings. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 13, consideration of resolution 2010-35, a resolution adopting the City of Franklin Septic System Certification Program Manual. Is there a motion on that?
Move approval.
And a second?
Second.
Discussion on that, if any?
Oh, wait. it's-
Okay, all right.
It's the fee, the administrative fee. What are we doing?
That was on
I know,
the
okay.
previous one. It's
Well,
30.
It's on this too. It says it on this one. On 13.
This is the manual.
It does mention it on this one as well.
Yes, it
You're
does.
right. You're right. It's $35.
It's every 5
Every
years,
5
a
years.
$35 fee that is paid, helps us pay for the cost of staff oversight, maintaining the database, just the paperwork associated with tracking the various properties with the septic tanks and the inspections of those by the private contractor, private licensed contractor.
Correct. All right. Any other comments?
I had a question. What triggers the 5-year period for each that elects not to connect to sewer? How do we establish that date? What triggers that?
Well, the ordinance is written as soon as we install the municipal sewer system lines, and if a resident chooses not to connect, we'll make that inspection. So that really triggers from that point there every 5 years in the future.
Okay, so there has to be an initial inspection?
Yes.
For them not to connect,
Correct.
and it starts from there?
As soon as
Okay.
this ordinance passes, we will initiate all those inspections.
Okay.
Any other comments? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 14, consideration of ordinance 2010-47 to be entitled an ordinance to amend Chapter 3, Sections 3.4.4 and 3.4.5, and Chapter 4, Section 4.3.2 of the City of Franklin zoning ordinance regulating development within the floodway overlay district and the floodway fringe overlay district. Establishing a public hearing for September 28, 2010. This is the first of 3 readings. Is there a motion?
I move for approval with 2 additions that the staff has
Is
asked
there
me
a
to.
second?
Second.
All right, Ann?
And those 2 additions are, or changes, rather. One of them is on page, let's see, on what we have, it's on page 2. It's that B, I, and we would just delete the word residential on that first line and just say for any building, not residential, not.
All right, that's on page 2, section B, subsection I.
I, okay.
Okay.
And the other one is on page 3, that 4.3.2, under B, if you notice, it says in the 3rd line, the standards in sections, and they have been marked out, that needs to be added back again. And then, this is page 3, it's 4.3.2, and that cross-out would need to be reinserted and then just stopped at the end of that.
And no 5.8.5?
That is correct.
Okay.
And then, in addition to,
All right,
wait just a minute, let me make sure. In addition to the standards of this subsection.
Okay.
So we'll take out the 5.
Leave that in or take it out?
All of that stays except we're reinserting the mark out and deleting the 5.8.5.
Okay.
Because that was really a part of those other 2 ordinances that were coming through, and we postponed looking at that.
so that line, starting with standards, will read standards in subsections 3.3.4 and 3.3.5 as appropriate, in addition to the standards of the subsection.
That is correct.
Okay, all right. Okay, that is an amendment to the motion. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Discussion on that. Linda, did you get that? Or you can? Okay. All right, I've got it written down. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, raise your hand. Motion carries. We're back to original motion as amended. Any discussion on that? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 15 is consideration of the alignment of Carlisle Lane West, option number 3, into the design of Carlisle Lane and signal design project at Highway 96 West.
Move approval.
Just a minute.
Wait,
Excuse me.
wait, I'm going to let Mr. Barnhill have.
Neither items 15, 16, and 17 have been to the work sessions. And I would move that we move
Yep.
items 15, 16, and 17 to the work sessions.
They've been to committee, but
Is it
they're not
CIP?
They've been to the
Okay.
committee, but they have not been to the work session.
What, What's our timeline like? I mean, are we trying to?
2 weeks.
But that doesn't,
There was no delay.
It should have no impact on the, I mean, this is a design process for a project whose construction is not yet funded. So we're not, we're not losing time in terms of getting a project started. We haven't funded the construction yet, so
okay.
you should be okay in that regard.
You move to,
Move to the next work
To
session.
defer to the next work session, that would include items 15, 16, and
And
17.
17.
okay.
Is there a motion to defer?
I made that.
It's a second, I'm sorry.
Second.
Yeah. Any discussion on that? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. We're on to old business. Item number 18, this is a public hearing. Consideration of ordinance 2010-49 to be entitled, an ordinance to amend sections 3.3.4, table 3-8, and 5.3.4 of the Franklin zoning ordinance, which established the site development standards for residential and detached units in traditional areas and requirements for the use of traditional features. This came out of the Planning Commission with a vote of 8-0. This is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to address this body on that subject? If not, I will declare the public hearing closed. Is there a motion
Move for approval.
and a second?
Second.
This is the second of 3 readings. Any discussion on that? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 19, consideration of ordinance 2010-55, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance to rezone 22.7 acres from low residential R1 to civic and institutional C1 for property located along Clovercroft Road and west of Bay Hill Circle. This is the third and final reading. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Before we go further, I'd like to read a statement from Alderman Berger, who was unable to be here tonight. So she asked me to read this into the record, and I will furnish this to you if you would like. I am sorry I cannot be with you all this evening. I believe the rezoning vote for the school site this evening is very important for many reasons, but the most important reason to vote yes is to ensure the numerous safety issues are addressed and instituted. As Ward 1 Alderman for the Breezeway area, I continue to support the rezoning for the school, even though I do not believe this to be the best location or the most ideal location. If Williams County Board of Education intends to proceed with the building of an elementary school at the Breezeway site, then I think it is wise and prudent to partner with the Williams County Board of Education so that we can be assured that infrastructure improvements are addressed and constructed which include but are not limited to turn lanes, traffic lights, numerous road improvements, crosswalks are a ped/bike tunnel, lighting, sidewalks, sewer capacity improvements as agreed upon by the Williams County Board of Education and the developer, etc. Thank you, Bev Berger, and I'll say that's the shortest thing she's ever done.
I was going to say, did you skip a page?
Look again, look again.
We went back to make sure, and that was it. So, that is in the
You
record.
must not check with Missouri.
Margaret?
I have a motion. I move that Ms. Berger's comments always be submitted in writing.
Margaret?
If my one vote would make any difference at all about changing the location of this school, I would vote no. However, it would not. So in order to be a part of making the best of a precarious situation, I will support this and hope and pray that this problem never arises again due to improper planning.
Any other comments? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously. That concludes our business. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Did we do the consent agenda?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
All in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.